was always a thrill to go just meet and jump on the train. And then each train stop, the guards would get on as we go downtown. The guards would get on and people would get on. And we go downtown and do it. Just like the Warriors. Where how the Warriors felt getting back to Brooklyn. That's how we felt coming home from parties on an elevated train to the Bronx.
What's up, everybody? It's Soren Baker here on Unique Access Entertainment. As always, please hit that subscribe button. As y'all know, it's right there and it's free. That enables us to keep coming to you guys as often as possible with as many interviews as possible, with as many icons of the game as possible. Of course, you can hit us on Cash App as well, Unique Access ENT. So please hit that subscribe button, like our content, share it, talk about it, be about it, each one, teach one. We appreciate your guys' support. Now, today on Cover Story, we have the honor and the privilege of being joined by King Son. Thank you for coming through, sir.
Peace. Thank you for having me, brother.
Yes, and King Son has selected Strictly Ghetto, but we're going to also talk briefly about his actual first two albums that came out, XL and Righteous But Ruthless, so that we better understand Strictly Ghetto. So for XL, that album cover, I was always intrigued because it was a little blurry, I guess. So what made that the picture that you guys ended up going with?
Well, I don't know. See, with Profile, they didn't give us artist control, so they chose the picture. Same thing like with Run-DMC and Dana Dane and Special Ed Profiles. I guess photography department, they chose the pictures. I chose other pictures, but they weren't actually chosen.
Okay.
But that particular cover, what I was striving to go for at that time, which before it was the Nation of Islam was really considered terrorists. You know, I was trying to use the concept of Asiatic terrorists because at that time, you know, hip hop started going a different way. We started losing the word peace after every song, and, you know, the Public Enemies and the Rakims and the Canes and the KRS-Ones were starting to fade. And, you know, that gangster rap, you know, with the niggas and bitches and fuck that and drugs, all that started coming into play. So I was trying to be, or striving to be, the Asiatic terrorist. And that's why it was Righteous But Ruthless. You know, like Eazy-E had Ruthless records, and no disrespect to Eazy-E or West Coast, rest in peace. But I was striving to bring it back towards righteousness, in opposed to it going towards, I'm from the street, crack, drugs, and what have you.
And then on the Righteous But Ruthless cover, why weren't you like looking in the camera? You were to the side, kind of.
Well, that was the photographer. You know, he chose that. It was supposed to be shot like in a desert, on like a desert oasis, but it was actually shot in Long Island, like in Jones Beach, Long Island, near the Hamptons.
Okay, gotcha. So then all that leading up to Strictly Ghetto, I know that subway stop is very important to you and to hip hop. So how did you decide to shoot it there and use that picture?
Well, you know, at the time and since I've been representing the Bronx, you know, I've been up at Gun Hill Road, White Plains Road, and shout out to Gun Hill Projects. You know, a lot of good people up there, like Chuck Chill Out, Funk Master Flex, Swizz Beats, Drag On, Joe Ski Love, you know, like a lot of the hip hop pioneers from my era are from the Northeast Bronx, and that's considered. But the Gun Hill Road 2 train, the 2 and 5 train station, is the stop where you would go to back in the day to go to the T Connection, which was like one of the hip hop clubs where Bam used to play, and Funky 4 and Flash, and, you know, those pioneers that taught us the game. That was where T Connection was at. So that whole Gun Hill, White Plains Road, plus that's where the strong reggae yard, you know, Rastafarian area is at. You know, everybody go up there to get their, to Mama's health food store to get their drinks and all that. So, you know, I felt the need to just, with that picture, I wanted to keep it as real as possible to show what's ghetto is myself on a train station and I got a 40 in one hand and I'm trying to split a blunt while the transit officer is walking up behind me.
Yeah. And why was it interesting or noteworthy to have the transit officer in the photo as well?
Well, I mean, because, you know, it's like, that's what's ghetto. You know, I'm at a train station and I'm waiting for the train and waiting for the train to come. So I'm about to get nice before I take that journey downtown to Manhattan. And that's how everybody in the Bronx know what I'm talking about, in the Northeast. When you jump on the train, you jump on the last car, you go to the last car and you go in the conductor's booth and you can lock the doors so the doors don't open when it gets to stop. So you kind of got your own car like that. So you could get nice and drink your 40s and puff your little weed or smoke your cigarettes like that.
Okay.
And besides, if I may add, you know, the late, great Mr. Magic, super rocking Mr. Magic from Cold Chillin', who actually signed me to Cold Chillin' Records. And as the last member of the Juice Crew, being the founder of the Juice Crew, Shan, Roxanne, Shantae, Biz, Kane, Ace, Craig G, Tragedy, Gaddafi, Iman Thug, you know, that whole G-Rap, that whole Juice Crew was just so ill. And I was able to come in on the tail end of that on Cold Chillin' with the Strictly Ghetto and Mr. Magic overseeing that album, man. He actually said it would be a good idea for me to represent, so we did.
Nice. So do you remember why for the cover you ended up having it like in the actual stop underground as opposed to like, you know, on the street with the picture of the stop? You remember?
No, that was the actual train station. It's an elevated train.
Oh, it's elevated there? Okay.
Yeah. Once you get into once you get into the Bronx, certain trains, like the Fordham Road train goes underneath, but the 4, 5, 6, and the 2 are elevated. So you get that aerial view of the Bronx.
Well, there you go.
So you get to see all the graffiti artists and all the great hip hop talent that's out there. You know, you're actually looking at behind the buildings. Train stations are behind the buildings that are mounted up.
Yeah, I've only taken the train a couple times up in that area, so it's been a while. I forgot about that part. Yes.
So have you ever taken elevated trains in the Bronx?
Only about once or twice, literally.
Okay, so once or twice would be enough if you was a real hip hop fan, because I used to drive a 735 IBM. I had a lot of cars, but it was always a thrill to go just meet and jump on the train. And then each train stop, the guards would get on as we go downtown. The guards would get on and people would get on and we go downtown and do it. Just like the Warriors, where how the Warriors felt getting back to Brooklyn. That's how we felt coming home from parties on an elevated train to the Bronx.
Yeah, and the Warriors takes it all the way back. So yeah. Now, speaking of taking it back, did you have anything else you wanted to add before we wrap up Cover Story?
Well, I wanted to say, like, when my career first started off, when I was first given the opportunity to rock, and you know, the main place was Latin Quarters. And shout out to everybody, Milk and Gears, MC Light, Queen Latifah. Shout out to Paradise, Professor X, Lumumba. You know, Latin Quarters was the family gathering. So that XL album, I'm actually in Times Squares, like a block away from Latin Quarters, but where you would go to take the train, so that, you know, that's where you go to get Latin Quarters. And even shout out to the D-Seps, rest in peace, the real 50 Cent, my man Hawk, Dog, Peg, Minister, Fort Greene Projects. You know, that whole Times Squares area was the mecca of hip hop partying back in the, you know, early and late 80s. So, you know, that's why I chose that XL album.
What do you think is the legacy of the Strictly Ghetto album cover for you?
Well, the legacy is to keep the, everybody always say South Bronx because they know that's BDP. You know what I mean? That's nice and smooth. That's Big Pun. You know, South Bronx, as well as, like I said, the previous pioneers, Grandmaster Flash, Furious 5, Treacherous 3, Dougie Fresh, those cats. But the Northeast Bronx got a lot of talent and took that torch and passed it on, you know what I mean? And kept it burning. So, that whole Gun Hill area, plus, I didn't live in the projects, but I hung in the projects every day. I raised my babies in the projects. My kids lived on the other side of the tracks on Olinville. And shout out to Cool Herc, the God Divine from up top, man. All the gods up there, man. It's a lot of God body presence up in the Northeast Bronx. And it's like, that's the part of hip hop, man, where it's strong. It's not like where Northeast Bronx didn't have abandoned buildings and dope fiends and things that you saw on the Message album cover and things that you saw on Beat Street. Whenever they show you the Bronx, they show you the abandoned buildings and dirty mattresses and cars stripped. The Northeast Bronx ain't like that, man. The Northeast Bronx was love, and the hip hop still came swift like swords. You know what I mean?
Well, there it is. Well, thanks for coming through the cover story, King Son. Appreciate it.
Yes, indeed.
Be sure to check out the History of Gangster Rap by Soren Baker. He's official.
History of Gangster Rap features exclusive interviews with Ice-T, Snoop Dogg, MC Ren, the D.O.C, and dozens of others. The History of Gangster Rap, a definitive look at how Los Angeles changed rap forever.
In Los Angeles, the streets definitely set the tone of the hip-hop music.
At 19, I got a $50,000 car.
My whole angle always was, I'll be street, but I will always tell you the horrors that go along with this life.
It will be penalties and casualties for just wearing the wrong color in somebody's neighborhood.
And once gangster rap made it from the streets to the TV, the genre exploded.
With Fab 5 on Yo MTV Raps with NWA.
Yo MTV, it just catapulted us from being local heroes to national gangbang rappers.
The History of Gangster Rap discusses it all from 1980 up till today.
It's always gonna be shit happening in the streets. You know what I mean? So it's always gonna be something to talk about.
The History of Gangster Rap in stores now.